Hey, how's it going? Wes here. Welcome back to another lesson. In today's lesson, we have another yellow verb lesson. And in today's lesson, we will look at the verb decir, which in Spanish means to say or to tell.
El verbo decir.
Now, as always, before we start with the first conjugation, if you want to make notes of the conjugations of this verb, then make sure to pause the video here, make a copy of this table, and then press resume once you're ready to begin. Alright, so let's start with the first conjugation of the verb decir, to say or to tell. Alright, so the first conjugation is of course the I form, so yo. And for decir, we say yo digo. Yo digo, which then of course means I say or I tell.
Yo digo. Yo digo.
So we can add this as the first word to our list. So then of course we also look at an example sentence for each different conjugation. So for this example sentence we have I tell my aspirations or I say my aspirations.
Yo, mis aspiraciones. Yo digo mis aspiraciones.
Alright, let's move on to the second conjugation, which is the tú form. So tú dices, which is you say or you tell.
Tú dices. Tú dices.
So yo digo, tú dices. So for example, if you want to say something like you say that, and then you say whatever the person says, then in Spanish this would be tú que
Tú que. Tú dices que.
So tú dices que, and then you add whatever you want to say. Now, when we say tú dices que, then we are making a statement out of it. So you're saying that something. However, if we add question marks, then of course we turn it into a question. So tú dices que, and then you add whatever you want to ask. So are you saying that? Tú dices que. Are you saying that? So tú dices. You say or you tell. Alright, then the third form or conjugation is él, ella, usted dice. So he or she says or tells, or you formal say or tell.
Él dice. Ella dice. Usted dice. Él, ella, usted dice.
So for example, in the sentence, él que está aquí.
Él que está aquí. Él dice que está aquí.
And está obviously comes from the verb estar, which we learned before. And in this sentence, if we literally translate this whole sentence, or actually first let's look at the conjugation. So él que está aquí. Él dice que está aquí. So now that we know the sentence, let's try to break it down bit by bit into English. So él dice is he says or he tells. Que was that. So he says that or he tells that. Está, and está could mean multiple things. It can mean he is, está. It can mean she is, está. Or you formal are, also está. But of course, in this sentence, because we are talking about él dice, we know that we are talking about he. So él dice que está. He says or tells that he is. And aquí, as we learned before, was here. So he says or tells that he is here. Él dice que está aquí.
Él dice que está aquí.
And then of course we also have ella dice que está aquí, where we don't need to change anything to that está, because está, as we learned, could mean he is, she is, or you formal are. So in this sentence, because we say ella dice, we know that we are talking about ella, and so está here means she is.
Ella dice que está aquí. Ella dice que está aquí.
And of course we also have usted dice que está aquí, which means you formal say that you are here.
Usted dice que está aquí.
Él dice, ella dice, or usted dice. Alright, then the next conjugation is the we form decimos. So we say or we tell.
Nosotros decimos. Nosotras decimos. Nosotros, nosotras decimos.
So for example, if we want to ask the question, are we telling the truth? Are we telling the truth?
Nosotros ¿La verdad?
And then, of course, we turn it into a question. So, are we telling the truth?
¿Nosotros decimos la verdad? ¿Nosotros decimos la verdad?
Or, of course, nosotras decimos la verdad, but this time with exclamation marks instead of question marks. So, the pronunciation of the sentence is also different.
Nosotras decimos la verdad. Nosotras decimos la verdad.
Alright, so we say or we tell. Decimos. Alright, then the next conjugation, which is you. So you say or you tell.
Vosotros decís. Vosotras decís. Vosotros, vosotras decís.
So again, let's look at an example sentence. You say that now. Or you tell that now. But in English, we usually say you say that now.
Vosotros, eso ahora. Vosotros, eso ahora. Vosotros decís eso ahora. Vosotros decís eso ahora.
Or, of course,
Vosotras decís eso ahora. Vosotras decís eso ahora.
which also means you say that now, but when we are talking to a group of females. And then, of course, we also have another way of saying you, which was ustedes. And for ustedes, the conjugation is ustedes dicen. Ustedes dicen.
Ustedes dicen.
You say or you tell. So we can add this as one of the last conjugations to our list as well. And then in this example, we have the word todo, which meant everything. So ustedes, todo. You say or you tell everything.
Ustedes, todo.
Of course, it becomes ustedes dicen todo.
Ustedes dicen todo.
You say everything. Or you could even translate it to not you say everything, but you say it all, for example, in English. That would also work. Alright, then the last form or conjugation, which is ellos, ellas dicen. You say or you tell.
Ellos dicen. Ellas dicen. Ellos, ellas dicen.
And then in this example sentence, we have another word that we already learned, I think, which was lo mismo. Lo mismo, which meant the same. The same.
Ellos, lo mismo. Ellos dicen lo mismo.
Means they say the same, or they tell the same. But in English, they say the same sounds a bit better, so usually we say they say the same. And of course, we also have ellas, so ellas dicen lo mismo. They say the same.
Ellas dicen lo mismo. Ellas dicen lo mismo.
Alright, and then of course, I will also provide you with an overview of all the different conjugations, so you can pause the video right here if you want to make some notes or whatever, and then press play once you're ready again. And then one more thing which I would like to add for the verb decir is a word or two words that you will often hear in Spanish that come from the verb decir, which are dígame or dime. And these two words, and I think I've already explained this in a previous lesson also, but I'm not sure anymore, so I'll just go over it one more time. Dígame and dime come from the verb decir, so to say or to tell. And as you can see from those two words, we add an me at the end. So dígame, me, and dime, D-I-M-E. So they both end with me. And the ending me actually turns it into to me. So dígame means tell me, or to say to me. Just like dime, which also means to tell me or to say to me. And these are some very common words that are frequently used in the Spanish language. So I wanted to include these also, so that if you might hear these words, you know what they mean. Especially when, for example, you order something in a restaurant or a cafe, the waiter might come up to you and he or she might say dime or dígame, which means tell me what you want to order. Alright, so that's it for the verb decir, to say or to tell. And of course, before we end this lesson, I also created some practice sentences, as I always do. So if you want to practice a little bit with these different conjugations, then please, by all means, make sure to pause the video and resume once you're ready. I'll show the answers in a couple seconds from now. Alright, and here are the answers. Alright, so that's the end of this lesson. In this lesson, we learned the verb decir, which means to say or to tell. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope you got something out of this. I hope that this was helpful to you. The whole reason why I'm creating this course in the first place and why I'm putting so much energy into this is because I want to help other people. So I really hope that I'm doing that, and I hope that everything is clear to you. Alright, that's it for this lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and of course I hope to see you in the next one. Adios.